first thing is getting your taxes on point. As I mentioned, here in the United States, tax day is April 15th, give or take, a holiday like a Sunday or a special holiday that lands. But this is kind of that time. Again, we're hanging out in February. There's a time where you really want to get your stuff together. The tax system can be super slow. I don't know if it is where you are, but the United States can be super slow. And April 15th is the deadline to get all your paperwork in, have it signed, and have it put in. That doesn't mean that you start to work on your taxes on April 15th. You hope for the best. I wish I what I was thinking earlier, but you just Google it or do a search on it. Where if you look at a news footage, particularly back in the day, where it'll be April 14th or April 15th, and you see the lines looking like a Black Friday line. If you're familiar with American shopping, the day after Thanksgiving, we're looking like a Black Friday line outside of the post office. You don't want to be one of those people. I think it might have been maybe 1 or 2 years where I was one of those people. My family was one of those people because the post office has to stay open till like midnight to make sure legally it's postmarked, it's stamped for April 15th. You don't want to be those people, particularly when you're on your own business. I remember early early days of me running my business and me not understanding how certain things worked or how things were structured and learning how to separate me from my business, learning to do the deductibles and things of that nature. And those things can get really complicated. Luckily, I've had great CPAs, had tax preparers in the past. Now I have CPAs and folks that I work with. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. You are doing, as they say, you are doing the Lord's work. I appreciate that. And so to make sure that you're in a good place for that. When you first start your business, though, you might not be able to literally make enough money to hire a CPA or to work with a tax preparer. Now, you can have the traditional companies, I'm not even going to name them, no sponsorship here, but the traditional companies that might be on your corner, if you live in a major city like Las Vegas, you know what they are. Some of them begin with one letter and they and another letter, et cetera, et cetera. They go from there. They might be able to help you, but there might be limitations as far as how far they can help you because you're running a small business. A lot of the a lot of tax prepared companies, the major ones that you can just walk into and have your taxes done for $50 or $75, they're actually built for more like working class, blue collar, white collar, as we used to say. I think they have different terms now. They're built for people that have 9 to 5s. That's what I'm trying to say to you. 9 to 5s or whatever hours you work. They're based on that. But if you have a side hustle, it gets a little bit more complicated. So there's some tools that I would recommend that might help you on your way if you're in that space between, okay, I don't have a business, I just have a 9 to 5, which shout out to my family members and the folks who have 9 to 5s. That's beautiful. There's a place for that. And then there's also the folks that are big enough where they have an accountant on staff, right? A lot of us, though, including myself, are somewhere in between. Here are tools that help you when you're in between. And even if you're not at a place yet where you can afford or your business isn't big enough to have a CPA or a tax preparer. So let's talk about them. The first one I would recommend would be QuickBooks. If you've been a long fan of the show, this is episode 412. So shout out if you've been watching this whole time for the last 4.5 years. You know, I've been a long time QuickBooks user, way back to when I lived in New Orleans. And man, long time ago, I left the year that Katrina hit. So that gives you an idea. You can do the math when I was living in New Orleans. And I distinctly remember getting involved with QuickBooks because I think I just got my first, I think I got my first book deal around that period of time, a long time ago. Again, this is my 27th book. So it gives you an idea as far as how far back that was. And it came to a period of time where me doing like everything, at least again, I'm going to speak from an American perspective. I've only lived in America. You can go to irs.gov, look it up. I would have put in the links, but I can put in the post links. And you can download literally, almost literally every form you need from irs.gov, at least as of when taxes were done last year. A lot of stuff going on with government right now, so I can't guarantee that's happening right now. But for the most part, irs.gov will give you all the forms. But then being able to fill out the forms, knowing the right form. Sometimes you get a form and it says, okay, refer to forms 30C, 508B over here, and it gets really complicated. QuickBooks was able and allowed me, number one, to understand where my money was going and number two, what to actually fill in on these tax forms. And I don't mean that as far as it literally saying fill this in on this level. What I meant is, okay, oh, I spent $5,000 on travel because I was traveling back and forth to New York to go visit my agent and to go to these journalism conferences circa the year that Katrina happened. Oh, okay. It actually organizes and helps you get your stuff together, get your budget together, so you know what to do and how much you've actually made. Now, I use spreadsheets and other things now. Of course, I have a tax preparer and also a CPA right now, so it's different. But in those early days, it helped out a lot. They actually have a special thing. I believe it's the link right here, where not only do you get a discount through me, but also you also get a focus with them with QuickBooks Small Business. QuickBooks Small Business really is focused on a step above that. The original QuickBooks, which I had again years ago, that was focused more on the individual or small family, right? Again, I was using this back when I was when I was single with no kids. Now they have small business QuickBooks, which allows you to expand a little bit and talks about more about those deductions, those things that people with a 9 to 5 don't need to worry about, but that we need to be concerned about, right? So there's line item in there, as they call it. I think it's called food and entertainment, something like that. They always change the name of it, or I always forget the name of it. One of the two, one of the two. It always changes, but I forget why it changes. But it might just be me. But I think it's called food and entertainment, and it basically means when you're going out to dinner, and I would go out to dinner, say with my book agent who was shopping my book. In other words, trying to find a publisher for my book. That flight to New York, but particularly me having dinner with them, there's a certain percentage of that, which changes often, certain percentage of that, steak and shrimp meal or whatever, that actually can be deducted from my taxes. Again, this is back in the day. It's a little bit more complicated now because I have my own business, but back in the day, it was like that. This can address those kinds of things and help you out with those kind of things. So be sure and check them out. It's called QuickBooks Small Business. It just launched probably about a year ago. I mentioned it on some previous episodes, but be sure and check them out. Again, through the link. That'll tell them that I sent you, and then I think there's a special discount that's happening right now. Be sure and check them out, bro. It's tax season. That's why I'm doing it right now. Be sure and check them out. If you want to go even deeper, there's one called Zero. I know it's spelled like that, but it's pronounced like the number zero. It always messes with my brain, but it is pronounced zero. Zero is good because it's like taking this to the next level. So let's say you start to have some employees. Let's say that your business starts to get well into the six figures. Let's say the energy shifts and you need something more robust. Zero is compliant to a lot of the major things that your respective government probably needs. It could be US, it could be Canada, it could be Mexico. So a lot of the major countries, for lack of a better term, that deal with the financial compliance, I'll put it like that. Zero rocks with them. I know international clients that I consult for that use Zero as their stuff. So it's kind of a higher level, I'd say a mid grade. So before you go out and get the CPA and get your in-house accounting firm and all that stuff, Zero will be a next step to that. Again, this is a referral link, as you see with the partner links, the special that they have going on too. Again, you click on it, that will tell them that you came from Bring Your Worth TV, and then you'll get the special. So you might have been working with more of an ad hoc or more of a casual platform and realize that it's not working for you. Maybe you have, again, 2 or 3 employees, maybe you just got your first employee and it's not going to fit into that 9 to 5 or side hustle box. Again, I know some major companies that work with Zero. So this is your next level of it. It is going to be more expensive than the more traditional ones that work with 9 to 5 employees. Like if you're working a 9 to 5, Zero, you don't really need it. But if your side hustle is turning into something bigger, you need something more robust, check out Zero. Again, highly recommended from folks that I have as clients, so they're paying me and working with me through Zero. So that tells you that higher level. The last one is very American centric. It's tax1099.com. I just learned about them recently. They actually are one of the few organizations that's certified and or qualified and or certified to work with the U.S. government. So you can actually pay your taxes through them. I will throw the link in the replay, but there actually is a link on irs.gov that shows them as one of their premium partners. There's only a handful of them. You can work with Tax 99 to find out the best forms that you need. Just like I was talking about at the top of the show a few minutes ago, you can get the best insight as far as your deductibles and all things of that nature. Unlike going to one of the tax firms down the street, no shots at them. I've worked with them. I have no problem with them. But unlike that, these folks are actually certified by the US government, by irs.gov, number one. Number two, they can point you in the right direction, particularly for that type of small business or side hustle you have. And as your business grows, you need to make sure that your taxes are straight. My business has grown over the last few years, so I've been very diligent as far as thinking about how to structure things the best way. We talked about that again in the previous episode about protecting your business in case of disasters or changes. That's part of that discussion. You could look at the link below and check out last week's episode. But this is a good part of that conversation. So, yeah, where are y'all at? Are y'all working on your taxes right now? I know I'm finishing up mine as we speak. Do you want to go and get a better structure as far as your business? Is your business growing in a way where you're realizing you need to restructure? Love to hear it in the comments. Yeah, and that's kind of the process that we're in. This is the season here in the States. I don't know when tax seasons usually are in other overseas countries, but let us know. Is this your tax season? And has your business grown enough where you're starting to think about how do I want to restructure things? And are there certain tools or practices you're using to make sure that your taxes are on point every year? Jump in the comments, let us know. I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown here to help you as a side hustle solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. And you're watching Bring Your Worth TV. Get out of my mouth. And today, we are talking about getting your money together 2025. What are you doing this year to get your money together? Is there a certain way that you can level that up? That's all that we're talking about today.